everyone, welcome back to another tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to make this macrame bracelet and how to make the closure like this. So it's kind of like one size fits all. This is pretty small. The dimensions in here are pretty small. So you can tighten it up or you can loosen it up. You can do whatever you need to fit that on your wrist. So this will pretty much fit a small wrist. That's about I'd say it's a good 6 inches in there. So the materials you're going to need for today is this macrame board that I bought off of Beaded. It's just the small mini macrame board, but you can get the bigger one, and I just find this one easier to work with. I can't handle a big huge macrame board. And this is nice because you can tie your threads down all along the edges here and keep everything really tight. And it's made by the Beadsmith, so it's a nice board. And I always work on this side because this part here drives me crazy. For materials, you're going to need some 2mm rat tail silk cording. So this is what I have. You only need a long enough to wrap around your wrist. This is going to be your main cord that you're going to work your macrame off of. So you need a good enough length to wrap around your board to hold it down. I'm using 2 colors of the 1mm silk cording. This is rat tail cording, and this is only 1mm. So you can see it's a huge difference in size. This I've got, you can use anywhere from 50 to 60 inches of this in 2 colors, or you can put it in a solid color like I did in here. I used just straight black in the whole entire bracelet with the white rat tail cording, the white 2mm cording. And this is my black, and it is again 60 to 70 inches of, it may be even too much. You're going to need 20 6mm rounds or bicones. Actually, you can use anything you want in this. I'm using a black diamond in a round, and you're going to need 2 pave beads. These are 10mm pave beads, but they're just the acrylic ones, and they're only for the ends here to keep your thread from pulling out when you open it up. So this is all it is, and something to grip onto when you close it. You will need 10 6mm Rondels, and these are the ones with the crystal AB in them. They're Swarovski Rondels, spacer beads. You'll need a lighter, and you'll need a pair of scissors. So I'm going to show you quickly how to, first of all, what you need to do here is we need to burn the ends and make them like a needle so that they're easy to go through these beads, because right now you'll never thread those on. So all I do is I take my lighter and I kind of hold it over this and melt it, and then just turn it till it gets good and stiff and really pointy. So you're just going to have to keep working with this till you get it skinny enough to fit through the hole of your beads. And this stuff doesn't get hot if you're just holding it there for a few seconds. See, that's definitely not skinny enough. There we go. That will fit through my beads now. Yes, see? So this is all you need to do with the lighter, is make your ends like little needles, and the lighter melts it nicely. So I would do, you know, a little bit of a good portion here, stiffen it up here so it's good and strong and sturdy to go through. Let's do this on the black. shouldn't hold it on too long under the lighter because it's going to catch on fire and it will get hot. So, and let's see, and we've got that fitting through. So that's all you need to do with, and this here just peels off your finger. It's just nylon. So get your ends done, gather all your materials, and I'll show you how to put this on your macrame board to get started. I'll be back. Okay, you're going to take your thick cord, and this is the one that you're going to build your bracelet on. So you want to, before you put it onto the board here, you want to leave enough room here because you're going to need this to make the end. So I'm going to just put it here in the middle of my board, in between the groove here, and then I'm just going to wrap it around these grooves and tuck it in so it doesn't pull out. So, like so. And I don't want this in the front. So I'm just wrapping it like that, and you're going to do the same thing on the bottom here. You're going to do it here as well. So flip your board over and tighten it up. Like so. Now you're going to take your two colors and you're going to leave a bit of a tail as well, like maybe this much. I'd say good 14 inches. And you're going to do the same thing up at the top here. So you're going to kind of lay it nice and flat and open it to one side, each one. So a white on this side of the white cord and a black on this side of the white cord. And then you're just going to do the same thing. You're going to tighten it around here. Actually, you should leave a little bit extra because you got to do a little bit of macrameing on this end to hold your bracelet together. So I'm just going to be safe and leave a little extra because you don't want to be short. And this is all there is to it. And I'm going to wrap it there. Alright, so this is what you should have. Your layout should look like this on your macrame board. So you've got your thick one in the middle, your black on this side, and your white on this side. Now, to do this, it's so easy. So easy. I want to try and show you so you can see. This here, I hope you can see this. What you're going to do, I'm working upside down. You guys can see what I'm doing, but I'm working upside down. So first off, you're just going to make like a little P. You're going to take one side and you're going to go over top of this middle one, just like that. Then you're going to bring your end. Then you're going to bring your end underneath the middle one, just under it like so, and pull this through. And that's it. Now pull this up, and there's one knot made. You see that again? So pull it up to there, make this into a P, and I'm going to put 14 of these before I add any beads. So I'll show you what to do in a second. So put it over top of the middle one and go underneath the cord and come up through your loop. So you have your loop here. You're going to come up between your loop. So it looks like this. You're just wrapping it over top. And then you're going to pull them together. And there we have 2 stitches done. Again, over top, underneath, and go underneath the middle cord, pull it through, and snug it up. And you may have to tighten it a little bit because you want your edge to stay even all the way, because if you don't pull these up snug, you're going to have little bumps in here, and that's going to be because you didn't pull your thread nice and snug up against each other. So let's do it again, and then I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to do my 14, so over top of the middle one, and slide this. I kind of just loop it like this, slide it underneath, and grip it like so, and pull, and snug it up. Alright, so I'm going to do 14 of them, and then I'm going to come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so we've gotten 14 stitches done in the black. Let me get up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright, so we've gotten 14 stitches done in the black. Now you're going to take your white that you've not touched yet, and you're going to put on the white end, you're going to put one crystal, one rondel, and one crystal. And you're going to bring those all the way to the macrame part here. And you're going to sit it side by side where the black is. And this is going to kind of like twist around your rope, but that's okay. Just keep flattening it down. It's perfect because that's the way you want it to be. And you're going to repeat the same thing on this side now by doing 14 stitches. But the first one is where you want to kind of make sure it stays nice and snuggy. So like this. So I kind of hold it down. Yes. Like this. So wrap this around under your middle cord and pull this up good and snug, and making sure both those stitches stay snugged, and you push them up together so there's no gap between the black and the white. You don't want to see a gap in there. And this is all you're going to do now, is you're going to do 14 stitches, pulling this up against the other nice and tight. And now these are locked in place here. And then you're just going to go along and repeat that. You do your 14 stitches here in the white. On the left side, on the side that you did not use, you're going to add your 3 beads, and then you're going to begin macrameing again on that side. And that's all it is, all the way down. So you're going to do this all the way down your bracelet until you have all 20 of your beads on. So it's going to be 10 sets of beads like this all the way down. And then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Alright, so do that. Add your beads on this side after you do your 14 on here. So you're always working the beginning's 14 stitches. You need something, a base, so that's why there's nothing here. But where you add the beads is the side that you're going to macrame with. So if you add the beads on the black, you macrame 14 on the black. You add beads on the white, you macrame 14 on the white. And just continue that until you have all your beads gone, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've strung all my beads on except for the last 2. Now when you've done your last group of 14, you're going to string on your last 3 beads. So I'm going to put my 6mm on. My rondel. And the last 6mm. Now we're not going to do that stitch anymore now, because now we're going to end our bracelet. So what you're going to do, instead of doing these, this is going to be a little difficult upside down, is you're going to make a P like that, and take the one with the beads on it. Then you take your other one, put it over top of that, so the black is crossing over top of the white, this white's crossing over top of your P, and you're going to tuck this under the main thread and come through the black one like so. So what you're doing is making a half of a macrame knot, and pull that good and tight. If your beads are bunching up like this, sticking up sideways like this, see how they're kind of standing up like that? That's what you were doing it right if it does that. And now you're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to make a P, backwards P, Q, whatever. You're going to bring your white over top of this one here and bring it under the main thread and inside the loop of your P here, and then just pull it, and this will finish off. So pull this tight, kind of hold it if you have to, and snug it up to make your first macrame knot. And there's one knot. So 2 stitches make 1 macrame knot. So there's 1 done. We want to do 4 on each end. So we're going to do, one side is a half a knot. So put this over top of the black and bring it underneath the big cord and inside of the loop of your P, and pull. And there is half a knot. Again, the P here, over top, underneath the main thread, and through the black loop. And that completes 2 macrame knots, like so. Do it again. Over top of the main one, your P is going to go over top of this one in the middle. Okay, it wants to tangle now. The white one over top of the black, under the main, and through the loop of the black, and half knot. And again, through there, under there, and now we've got 3 complete macrame knots done. Okay, one more. So 2 stitches make 1 macrame knot. Over top of the main, the black goes. This goes over top of the black, underneath the main, and up through the P loop that you made into a P. Like so. That's a half a stitch. And now do one more half stitch under and through the P loop. So this side is complete. Now you're going to need your trusty old lighter again, because we need to take this off the board. So undo the bottom and make sure this is good and tight. So I kind of hold this with my finger, and I do not use any kind of glue on this, because the glue hardens and then it kind of gets rough and hurts your wrist after a while. It starts to irritate it. So I wouldn't advise using any kind of crazy glue like they do in most of the videos. I've tried it with the crazy glue and it's awful to wear on your wrist. So what you're going to do now is take one end and snip it off, leaving a little tiny piece because we're going to melt that. Take this, melt it, and push it flat. So kind of melt all these together so it doesn't ever come undone. Do not melt this piece here. Don't melt your main cord. Just melt where you've cut off. So keep your lighter on that and kind of push it nice and smooth, making sure it's nice and smooth underneath and that you've kind of melted these cords together in this macrame braid piece here. So kind of push it so you know that's never going to come undone. And make sure you keep it nice and smooth with your lighter. And cut the other end off now and pull it nice and tight. Cut a little, leave a little tail, enough to melt it in. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to melt it. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and smooth underneath where it's going to rub onto my skin. Like so. See? Nice and smooth. And then you can kind of melt these all together a little bit, you know, just to be safe that it's never going to come undone on you. That's all you have to do, is melt this instead of gluing it. Now, I was watching a video where they were using crazy glue, and that's what I first did, was I used crazy glue on the end, and it was irritating my wrist so bad that I had to end up melting it anyway. So you're going to repeat on this side now exactly the macrame you just did to close this end off. So let's remove this bracelet off of the ends. As you can see, the stones are loose, so you're just going to reposition it enough that you can put it back up in the top of your board here, this side, and watch your beads don't fall off. Alright, and separate the white and the black. And now you're going to tighten down this again, but you're only working off this end. So let's do this quickly. Oopsies. We've kind of got a mess here. That's the right, and this goes underneath. Like so. There we go. We're back to normal here. So we're going to do the same thing as we did on the other side. Let me turn my board around. Okay. Take the black and the white. So the white one where the beads are is the one you want to start your macrame braid with. So make your P, over top of your P, under the main cord, and through the P loop. Now this is where you want to pull it good and tight. And push these up and pull that tight. Like so. Okay. I'm going to kind of hold that with my finger. And I'm going to make that over top and make you a little loopy to go underneath. And up like so. And now give this a good pull. Okay, so we're pulling this tight here. And then we're going to complete our full macrame knot with 2 stitches. So there's one. Let's do another. Cross over underneath and pull it through the loop. That's a half stitch. There's 2. There's 3, or no, sorry, I still have to complete it. There's 3. Okay, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to cut off my ends, burn them off, and I'll come back and show you what to do after you get your 4 stitches done. So I've done 3 here, and I need to put 1 more just to be safe. Okay, so we've gotten all our ends completed, melted nicely. It's nice and smooth. And you're going to take, if you have leftover piece, I've got quite a big piece left over. I'm going to use 2 pieces, which is the black and the white. Now all you're going to do for this part to make the tightening part is you're going to put your strings together like this, kind of overlap them like that. Alright, the first stitch we put on here, first macrame stitch, is going to be the hardest. So you're going to take 2 strands. You can tie it on if you want, but make sure you get them even. So let's tie these on. It's just going to be a little easier for you if we tie them. So let's tie these quickly here. And I want to make sure they're even. Like I said, the first one is going to be the hardest, and they're so-so. Not really even yet. Alright. So this, we'll have to consider this as half of a stitch. Half of a knot. So bring it down about, I would say leave a good portion for you to macrame in. So again, we're going to do the macrame stitch. We've tied it together here, and because my thread's coming out over top like this, this is the side we need to make our first stitch. So it's going to be the same as you did for finishing. Make a P. Bring your other ends over top, and I'm sorry you're doing this upside down, but I can't do this any other way. Put it underneath your 2 cords and through that loop and pull, and this will make 1 macrame stitch for you. So we've got the knot and then half of a stitch, so we're going to consider that as 1. And now you're, because you've got your thread over here, you know you got to make one on this side. So let's make another stitch. Make your P, go over top, underneath, and through that loop. Oops. This is really difficult to do. Like I said, your first couple stitches, your first one for sure was nasty. These will get a little bit easier. And pull. So pull that good and tight. So there's 1/2 of a stitch. So make sure this pulls. Okay, you didn't do anything wrong. So there's 1 stitch done. 1/2 of a macrame stitch. Make your loop over top, underneath the middle cord, and through your P loop, and complete your stitch. Now you could do this, you can make this as long as you want. So we've got, whoops, I think we've got, this is our 3rd stitch. Yes. We've got 3 complete stitches done. So we have 1, we've done 2, we've done 3. So I'm just going to keep working away and making stitches until I'm comfortable with the length that I want it to be at the bottom of my wrist. If you've got a small wrist, you don't want to do too big of a piece, not necessary. And over, under, and through the P loop that you make. And pull. And I'm just going to keep going, keep going. And this is another way to lengthen your bracelet, because when we cut the main cords off, that's going to give us the length that our bracelet will be. So let me pull this white one here. Okay. I think I'll do. It is quite tight at first. It will loosen up though. I'm going to do a few more. I like it a little bit longer, and that way I know it's going to stay snug and tight on my wrist for a little longer. And pull these cords. Looks like I have to keep pulling this white one separately, which is fine. I kind of like it with the two colors mixed, the black and the white. The macrame together, and completes another stitch. And I think I will do one more, and then I'm happy with that. And let's pull the black and the white and make this good and tight. So there we go. Now, before you cut anything off, I want to mention that when you are melting this here, when you cut this off and you're melting this, do not melt it to this, because you're not going to be able to pull your strings. Okay? See how tight they are right now? But that will loosen up. So, be very careful when you're melting these two. I would leave a little wee bit of length so you have something to adhere to your stitches. So let's melt this down. Whatever you do, stay away from that middle cord. Just melt these pieces together. Make sure it's all good and melted together, because this is going to get a bit of wear and tear. Push them together. And that looks pretty good. Again, stay away from your cords. Leave a little wee piece there so you have something to melt onto your macrame. See how easy that is? And I'm avoiding doing it underneath because I really don't want this to be rough. So I'm just doing it very easily and pushing and making it smooth. Melting it together. That's it. Now see, you can pull this and you can stretch it out. Now this is where you want to test your wrist size. So keep both of your ends, measure them from here to here and here, and make sure that these are in the same length. So I'm going to just stretch this over my hand. I really don't need it that big, so I'm going to make it a tad bit smaller. So I'll do that on both sides. And again, I'm going to measure, make sure I get them even. Okay. So again, now you have to melt these because I can't get them through my Pave beads. Their holes are big, but they're not that big. So I'm just going to melt these enough to get this through, like that. And again, I'll do the same thing. It's just because they really fray on the end, and then they're hard to get through your Pave beads. Alright, so now, let me get this black crap off my fingers. Now all you're going to do is tie an overhand knot, like so. And I would go, well, this is the length I want it to be. So I'll push it up as close as I can to the Pave bead and pull it tight. Like that. Good and tight. Now you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to cut this off. And you're going to melt this with your lighter. Try not to burn it, because it will turn black. And I'm melting it good and lots, because I don't want the knot to come undone, because you're going to put a lot of pressure on these when you're pulling them. You don't want to pull your knot apart. So just melt them together. Melt this whole knot if you can. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side now. Tie an overhand knot. Pull the knot up as close to the bead as you can, not too close. You know, leave a little room to breathe. And get it the same length, and just fidget with it to get it good and tight. And cut it off and melt it too. And I'm kind of melting the knot itself, not just that way it's not going to pull apart on you. Just keep touching it with your finger and rounding it off and making it nice and smooth so you don't have any sharp edges. And that's it. Your bracelet is done. Look at how easy that was. You can make this with whatever colors you want, whatever beads you want to use. You can use less amount of stitches in here. I just like to do the 14 so it wrapped around the whole entire set of bead here and kind of puckered it up a bit, and that's the look I was going for. So all you do is put this on your wrist. I use this with here and pull it to the length that you need, and there's your bracelet. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you make lots of fun macrame bracelets. If you make any and you have pictures of them, put them on Facebook, and my Facebook link is down below. And I will see you soon on the next video. Have a great week. Bye everyone.